move on to talk about food, what you may have for breakfast, lunch or dinner, and what it contains. We're normally quite aware of sugar content and fat content. Now, salt is a big, big problem.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about a fast food, you think of a McDonald's or a Burger King, and you know that what you're getting there is probably not that healthy. But if you're thinking of another kind of fast food, so, for example, if you go to a chemist and you buy a meal deal on your lunch break, well, you might not be aware.
What chemist are you talking about there?
Like Boots, for example. Boots, the chemist. You can get a meal deal, but actually, it turns out it's not that healthy.
Yeah, and I find now that you can really taste the salt. I mean, salt's a preservative.
Yeah, you see, I love salt. I can't get enough salt, but I know it's very unhealthy.
It's hardening your arteries and your heart and everything. Goodness knows what you look like inside because of salt.
Oh, don't
all
say
shriveled.
that.
Shriveled you could be, is with this. But anyway, a new study reveals that 70% of these meal deals are dangerously high in salt.
So, on average, Brits eat 2 grams more salt a day than is actually recommended. And our reporter Will Hollis joins us live from Nottingham this morning. Good to see you, Will. Have you grabbed yourself a little meal deal
breakfast
this morning?
That's the home of a big chemist as well.
What is?
Nottingham.
Oh, Nottingham,
yes. Oddly enough.
Yeah.
I've barely even finished my breakfast at this time in the morning, let alone started thinking about lunch. But it has become a real commonplace in British society and British culture, particularly on things like social media, showing the combination of what you might have decided to eat that day on your lunch break for your meal deal. For anybody that's never heard of a meal deal, it's just basically the combination of what sandwich or wrap you might get with maybe what snack and drink. And as you said at the start, most people might be quite conscious of the amount of salt, fat and sugar in takeaway foods, in processed foods, where you're going to get most of your salt from. But most people don't necessarily think about it when they're quickly grabbing something from the supermarket aisles or, as you say, from your chemist aisles, depending on where you might buy your meal deal. And this is something that Action on Salt are looking at very closely this week. A report released today revealing that out of the 8 supermarkets and high street retailers that they went to study the salt levels on a combo meal deal, 70% were dangerously high in salt. Now, that's something really worrying a lot of health experts. We do often hear about fat and sugar. We've seen in recent years the government introducing a sugar tax on sugary drinks and fizzy drinks that you might get in takeaway shops, fast food restaurants. They are looking at a salt reduction strategy, but on Salt Awareness Week, which is what it is this week, health experts are saying that much more needs to be done. And I was thinking, I think most people don't really think about the salt. They don't necessarily look at those labels. So yesterday, when it was lunchtime, I've been out in Nottingham asking people on the streets here as they do go to grab their meal deal, do they consider the amount of salt that's in it?
To be quite honest, I don't think I do. I tend to look at the calories and occasionally the sugar content, but I really don't think I think about the salt content of things.
I like it to be more salty, so like if there's less in it, so yeah, obviously I do add it. But like in general, it doesn't concern me, but obviously for flavoring, yeah, I do put like more salt in my food.
No, I don't. I normally think about the flavours rather than salt.
No, I don't think about that a lot. But I do look at the salt content, and if it's, I think like, okay, it might be too salty.
I can't say it's ever like crossed my mind, to be fair, that what salt's in my meal deal. I just sort of pick it up and take it, you know what I mean? So.
And what about in other ways that you might live your life or work? When do you think about salt and what it might mean for food?
Well, obviously in my career, I obviously think about salt all the time with me being a chef, working in a kitchen, so it's obviously necessary for me to think about it. But home cooking, it tends to be a little bit more casual. I don't really consider it too much, but, you know, still to a certain extent, I suppose.
I try not to, but obviously if I get chips or fries, it's obviously I kind of want more salt because I'm more of a salt guy. But yeah, salt's not great, is it?
I always try to buy health food, like not like, you know, like the fry stuff, because in the meal deal you can buy some fruits like apples or some grapes, so I always try to buy a little bit of fruit just to feel a bit better with myself, I guess.
Now, the study that's being released today found that most of the items as part of snack combos, so that's your crisps, that's your chocolate, that's all sorts of different confectionery that you might not expect to have really high levels of salt, had more salt than a Big Mac, fries and drinks. So that's something that Action on Salt are looking really closely at. As I said, there is a reduction strategy that the government is working towards for 2024, and as I said, it's a real concern for health, especially when the biggest causes of strokes and heart attacks are often a high salty diet. So yes, it's a week where you are being encouraged to maybe have a little bit less salt on your diet, and I think it's something that many people are going to be considering throughout the rest of this week.
Well done, Will. Well done for battling the answer phone there as well.
Yeah, well done, hero. Will, thank you.
Ringing you.
But the thing, thanks, Will. Speak again later. But I can tell you, we are being poisoned by processed food. Governments do nothing about it. Food lobbies are all powerful. When you say, "Oh, watch about the salt content you get," no, listen. There's no choice. There is no choice. More people, unless you're cooking from scratch.
Pen's coming out again.
Unless you're cooking from scratch.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to cook a raw carrot. You just have to peel it, shove it in your mouth.
Yeah,
Job done.
That's okay, but what I'm saying is anything you buy from a shop or a factory is processed full of salt, full of sugar, and then they say to us, "Oh, you shouldn't be eating that." Well, if we shouldn't be eating it, don't sell it. That's my point. It's like plastic, right? Well, you shouldn't be consuming plastic. Well, ban it, government. Absolutely ban it. You ban lots of other things. Ban plastic. This is where I just think politicians all talk, no action, not in touch with real life.
There you go. Let us know your thoughts on that.